How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Kim Kardashian West. That's right, that Kim Kardashian West, the one that we have seen nude many a times, one way or another. The one who was married to Kanye West, who is his own controversial animal. I'll talk about that at a different time. The one who is the reality star, the phone app star. However you know Kim Kardashian, you know who she is. She is now, in my humble opinion, the face of prison reform. Just 1 week ago to the day, last Wednesday, May 30th, she met with Trump in the White House for a meeting about prison reform. Now, somebody else was invited to come to this very meeting, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. In this meeting, she spoke about a woman by the name of Alice Marie Johnson. She is 63 years old, a great grandmother, and had been locked up for the past 21 years out of a life sentence for quote unquote non-violent drug offense. Now, before I go any further, I just want to say I have zero sympathy for Miss Johnson, none whatsoever. Okay. You will see some of these articles on the internet talking about, oh, well, she got involved with the drug business because her son got killed and her husband died and her house got foreclosed on. I'm not really trying to hear it. This was a 3-year minimum operation, multi-million dollars, and she was a kingpin, okay? And they were dealing cocaine. Now, this was in the early 90s, right around the time of the crack epidemic. I've had family die as a result of this, so I'm not really trying to hear any kind of sympathy or anything like that. A lot of black folks talk about how bad the crack era was. Well, she contributed to it, so I'll leave that there. So all of that aside, Kim Kardashian was able to come to the White House and lobby on her behalf and get her released. So 21 years later, she has been officially released from the penitentiary. Now, not quite yet. I've not seen her come out of jail or whatever, but Trump has granted her clemency and commuted her sentence. Now, what this is not is a pardon. A pardon is when they say, okay, we're just going to wipe the slate and it's like it never happened. You can't get that time back that you served, obviously, but a pardon would be like the crime is just wiped away. This is not what this is. It's basically a commutation. You're able to get out basically right away. So back to what I was saying earlier about somebody else who could have come to the White House but did not. Let's talk about your boy Meek Mill, the rapper. Some of you may know who he is. Some of you may not. But he is semi-famous, I suppose. He was in jail recently and got released. It was this whole big kerfuffle around him because he got flown on a helicopter, mind you, to the Sixers game when they were in the playoffs recently. He was front row and center, got to bring a little ceremonial Philadelphia bell inside of the actual place. He's up there palling around with famous comedian Kevin Hart. It's this whole big celebration for him coming out of jail. And then he goes on a couple interviews on shows talking about, well, we need to have prison reform. I was unjustly locked up, which, by the way, is not true. He was on probation. Actually, he should have been in jail for a much longer time than he was originally. The judge in the case, who is pretty controversial on her own, at the time when he was 18, she gave him a very light sentence, which had a lot of probation on it because she saw his potential. He could turn his life around, all this, that, and the third. But he kept getting in trouble ever since. You're talking about drug violations, popping wheelies, not showing up for your meetings, for your PO, all kind of dumb stuff. He could have been locked up many times before, but the judge was like, okay, now you just playing me. You got people threatening me on social media. I'm going to just go ahead and violate you. He deserved to get violated because he had been given many chances before. If he was a regular Joe, he would have been locked up for a longer period of time to begin with. Not even talking about the violations, which he should have been locked up for a long time ago. But I digress. This guy is talking about how he was done wrong by the justice system. You know, he's the guy talking about we need prison reform. When he's invited to the White House to talk about prison reform, what does he do? He listens to his friend, boss, or whoever you want to call him, Jay-Z, when Jay-Z says don't go. Why? You say, oh, because it's going to hurt your image. It's not going to be good for your record sales. So let me get this straight. You are out here talking about prison reform, sir. You are here talking about how you were done wrong. You could talk to the very guy who can just free people instantly. You on TV talking about free X, Y, and Z, free this person, free that person, where you could have gone to the White House and got them freed like Kim Kardashian did. It appears to me that this young lady, Kim Kardashian, has more cojones, more testones than you do, sir. And that's really a crying shame. I'm not the biggest Kim Kardashian fan, but I have to respect her. I don't like people that do drugs and sell drugs, all that kind of stuff, but I have to respect what she did. The president had the invitation open. She went there with a case, and she was able to get the woman freed in 1 week time. Imagine how many guys that Meek Mill knows, how many of his boys, as they say in Philadelphia, how many of them are locked up right now that could have used a little bit of a boost from Meek Mill to get out. And it just goes to show that a lot of people who talk about criminal justice and all this and that, a lot of these SJWs don't even really care about what they preach about. They actually don't want the problem to go away because they profit more off of having the problem exist. Your Sean Kings of the world, your Colin Kaepernicks of the world, your Demar McKessers of the world, they're not really worried about actually helping. They're more worried about their own personal pockets. See, Kim Kardashian is not a professional victimologist. She is not a professional grievance artist. She is not a professional protester, agitator, or whatever. You can say whatever you want about her, but all her money is gotten in an honest way. She's not trying to con people. She's not trying to deceive people. So personally, I have nothing but respect for the woman. I'm not even a fan of, granting clemency for drug dealers or whatever. But hey, she had a desire in her heart to get the woman out of jail, and she was able to do it. So let this be a lesson to all you rappers, all you professional victimologists out there. If you have an invitation to go to the White House to talk about a certain thing that you claim to be passionate about, maybe you should go. Just maybe that'll make sense to go and see if you can get something done. And if you don't go, then I think that tells everyone where you really stand. You're not really trying to get anything accomplished. You just want to be out there in the front lines getting attention for yourself. So that's pretty much all I got to say about it. What say you? Do you think that Kim Kardashian did a good thing here by getting the woman's sentence reduced? Again, this is not a pardon which would just wipe away the crime altogether. She did the crime, ain't no question about that. Multi-million-dollar operation, thousands of pounds of cocaine in a poor neighborhood over the course of years. I'm not really trying to hear any sob stories, so she did it. It's just a matter of, was the sentence excessive? She did not have any kind of rap sheet before that, and she was 41 when she got locked up. So apparently she had led a good life before. She decided to become a kingpin, which is kind of that's a drastic heel turn, but I digress. Do you think that the right thing was done here? Or do you think the wrong thing was done here? Are you like some of these liberals out here who will say, oh, this is just one person? What about all the black and brown people who are locked up unjustly? It's like, hey, you just got into office. Like, present a case. Go to the White House rather than being on the outside. If you have a case, present it. If you have the opportunity to present a case, present it. If you have a celebrity that's out here talking about these things that may be able to get into the White House, state your case. Put a video out. How about you do something to get the ball rolling for this person? Because where this whole thing with Alice Marie Johnson happened is because Kim Kardashian saw it on social media and she was inspired by it. And from there, she took it upon herself to crusade on this particular platform. That's what this was. It wasn't like, Alice Marie reached out to her directly and said, hey, can you free me? It was something that was out there and it grabbed attention and it caught Kim Kardashian's eye. So if you want to have your person released from the penitentiary, if you want to have lighter drug laws, how about you start something to get the ball rolling to get the attention to where it needs to be? Do you think this is all for show? Do you think Donald Trump did this to gain favor of the black community? Was it just because, Kim Kardashian was able to charm him? Was it because Kanye West is his friend? Maybe it's because Kanye is cool with Trump. Maybe it's because Kim Kardashian actually went to the White House. Like I said earlier, I'm sure there are plenty of guys that Meek Mill could have gotten out of jail, or at least brought to the table to maybe get out of jail if he would have gone to the White House. But hey, I guess your money, your selfish reasons supersede all the other stuff you talk about all the time in these interviews. So I think this is a way for people to really see where these celebrities stand and what they're all about. And as I close, again, nothing but respect for Kim Kardashian and anyone else who goes to the White House, who presents their claim, who gets the ball rolling about whatever they're passionate about and is able to see it through until the end. But whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.
Johnson's daughter, Tretessa, is on the phone with me right now.
She's screaming on the phone. And that is true, that he has commuted her, that Trump has commuted her sentence. And I want to publicly thank President Trump for doing that. That's awesome.